Let us hastily go to the word. If you will secure your Bible, pull up your app on your electronic device and go to 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel chapter number 9. 2 Samuel chapter number 9. I like that, Steve. Stay there with me, man. 2 Samuel chapter number 9. As is customary here, once you have secured 2 Samuel chapter number 9, if you're physically able, would you rest on your feet? Second Samuel chapter number 9. And reading from the New Century Version, starting with verse number 1, may read slightly different from that you are accustomed to. However, it says the same thing. David asked, "Is anyone still left in Saul's family? I want to show kindness to that person for Jonathan's sake." Now there was a servant named Ziba from Saul's family. So David's servants called Ziba to him. King David said to him, "Are you Ziba?" He answered, "Yes, I am your servant." The king asked, "Is anyone left in Saul's family? I want to show God's kindness to that person." Ziba answered the king, "Jonathan has a son still living," catch this, "who is crippled in both feet." The king asked Ziba, "Where is this son?" Ziba answered, "He is at the house of McCall, son of Amiel in Lo-debar." Then King David had servants bring Jonathan's son from the house of McCall, son of Amiel in Lo-debar. If you don't mind, skip down to verse number 13. Mephibosheth lived in Jerusalem because he always ate at the king's table, and he was crippled in both feet. If you don't mind, play preacher with me today and turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, I don't want to go back to Lo-debar. Turn to another neighbor and say, neighbor, please don't go back to Lo-debar. Turn to somebody else and tell them, neighbor, I ain't going back.
I ain't going back.
All right.
Take your seats, take your seats.
All right.
Stay with me, Steve. Stay with me, Steve.
All right.
I'm not going back to Lo-debar. Have you ever found yourself in a position, and knowing us, I know that we have, especially when New Year's is rolling in. We make all of these commitments,
All right.
stating that I'm not going to do, or I'm not going to return to, or I'm going to drop whatever this is that has a hold of me that I've just been bringing along with me. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you have said, I'm not going to go back to that thing that had hold of me because I recognize that the power of that thing is not larger than the power of God that rests inside of me? Have you ever found yourself in that position, and then slowly but surely you find yourself reverting back to that place?
All right.
You find yourself, after having said, I'm not going back, you find yourself taking a U-turn somewhere along life's drive. And before you know it, you were heading in one direction, but because you came up to that U-turn in the middle of the road, you decided to take that U-turn and go back in the opposite direction. And because of that, you have stunted the growth that God has desired for you. Because that U-turn was there and you decided to take that U-turn, you have said to God, I know and I recognize that you had a destiny for me, but because I am so attached to that thing behind me, I can't walk into my destiny. I've got to turn around and go right back to what I'm accustomed to.
All right.
That is, my friends, Lo-debar.
All right. All right.
Can we walk this thing for a little while this morning? Because we need to understand Lo-debar. We need to understand the power that Lo-debar has. Even though the meaning of Lo-debar does not contain power itself, if you allow Lo-debar to internalize you, then you will become a victim of Lo-debar. You don't believe me? As a matter of fact, the meaning, if you break down the etymology of the word Lo-debar, you take lo, the prefix lo, just that first part. Lo means no.
All right.
Lo means not. Lo means nothing.
All right.
And then when you break down the ending of the word, debar, debar simply means fruit.
All right.
Debar means communication.
All right.
means a place that has everything that you desire.
Yeah.
However, when you add Lo-debar, you have a place that has no food. You have a place that has no fruit. You have a place that has no communication. You have a place that is full of nothingness.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Good.
And Lo-debar, my friends, is a place that you find yourself in. And this place is a barren place.
All right.
This place, TJ, is a place of isolation. This place, Lo-debar, is a place where you find yourself outside of the will and the covering of God. This place, Lo-debar, is a place where you don't have a connection with the word because there is a lack of communication, a lack of the word in this place called Lo-debar.
All right, sir. Yes. All right.
And here's the scene. The scene is set so wonderfully and beautifully because there is an individual by the name of Mephibosheth that resides in Lo-debar.
Yeah.
Now, in order to catch this fully, you need to know and understand who Mephibosheth is. Because Mephibosheth is not just some ordinary person.
Yeah.
But Mephibosheth has ties to royalty.
All right. Yeah.
The Bible tells us that Mephibosheth is Jonathan's son. Now, if you don't know who Jonathan is, I need you to go to Sunday school class because Jonathan is the son of King Saul.
All right.
So Mephibosheth is connected to royalty, but catch this, he's living in a place that has.
All right.
And so my question becomes today, how many of you here in the midst of this 8 o'clock service here at Greater Beulah Missionary Baptist Church on the corner of 6 and 6, you are connected to royalty, but you find yourself in the midst of a place that has nothing to offer you.
All right. Yes. All right, sir.
You find yourself in a place that has sucked every good fiber out of you. And catch this. It's not a problem with being in Lo-debar if you don't internalize Lo-debar.
All right. Yeah.
The problem with being in Lo-debar is when you allow Lo-debar to overtake you and you begin to internalize Lo-debar and you begin to act and become like Lo-debar.
All right. Yeah.
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with being in Lo-debar. I don't have a problem with being in a place that's barren because of the fact I know that the word teaches me that my God shall supply all of my needs according to his richness in great glory. I don't have a problem with being in Lo-debar because even though it's a place that lacks everything that might be nutritious for me, the fact of the matter is that God will supply. But the problem is that when I stop looking at the providential hand of God being able to supply my needs while I'm in Lo-debar.
Wait.
All right. So there is Jonathan's son, Mephibosheth.
All right.
Jonathan being the son of the former King Saul. Here is the grandson that has ties to the kingship. But catch this. Because all throughout this 9th chapter, every time that you see his name, Mephibosheth, it is attached to his dysfunctionality.
All right. All right.
What is his dysfunctionality, you may ask me? The Bible says that he is crippled in both feet.
Yeah.
What is it that you're saying, preacher? Be careful of how you allow people to use your name and attach other meanings to your name, because the fact of the matter is that even though you might have a problem, baby, your name is your name. Don't allow somebody else to dictate what your name is.
Amen.
Every time that his name is mentioned, it's said that he's crippled in both feet, and that's to allow everyone to know that this person, Mephibosheth, has a physical ailment and he's crippled. And sometimes people will not know you by your name, but they'll know you by your physical inabilities.
Yeah.
Be careful of what inability someone attaches to you and tries to call you by that name.
Yeah, all right. All right, sir.
The Bible says, if you go back to the 4th chapter of Samuel, the Bible says that at the age of 5, Mephibosheth, word had gotten back that Saul and Jonathan had been slain.
All right.
And the person who was carrying, catch this, y'all, the person who was caring for Mephibosheth in a haste accidentally dropped Mephibosheth.
All right. Yeah. That's it.
And because he was accidentally dropped, he has now suffered from this ailment because somebody dropped him that was supposed to be caring for him.
Yeah. All right, son. You're on it. Amen.
Y'all, this thing is good here. This thing is good. Look at Mephibosheth at the age of 5, and even when we get over to chapter 9, we don't know exactly how old Mephibosheth is, but from the age of 5 up until now, chapter 9, where he's somewhere in adulthood, has been suffering with this physical ailment because somebody dropped him.
Yeah. All right. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Can we walk this thing on? Can we walk this thing? Because the truth of the matter is that, and I'm going to preach to y'all preachers, because I know y'all won't give me amen. The truth of the matter is that sometimes we allow ourselves to be so captivated by some people, and we give them ourselves trusting that they are going to be cautious and careful with us.
Yeah.
And it's not that they meant to do anything to us, but something came up along the way. They hit a bump on life's highway, and before you knew it, they dropped you.
Amen.
And because you've been dropped, because you've been hurt internally, because you trusted yourself to somebody that did not particularly care for you the way that you needed to be cared for, you find yourself in this place called Lo-debar, this place that has nothing to offer you because now you have become crippled.
All right.
All right.
Woo! God Almighty. There's a mic on somewhere that's in a pit. Steve, take care of that for me, please. I think it's that white mic. But nonetheless, we find Mephibosheth now somewhere in adulthood, who's been suffering with this ailment because he's been dropped. Because at the age of 5, when word got back that his granddaddy and his daddy had been slain, now he has an ailment that has attached itself to his body and has caused a lack of growth. Yes, sir. And you know, sometimes when you've been dropped by people, you allow that problem to hinder you from becoming all that God desires for you to be. All right. And we're so quick to say, I can't do this because. I can't walk in that way. Some of y'all gonna help your boy preach today, and I like it. Thank y'all for helping me. The fact of the matter is that we have allowed whatever our physical ailment, our physical condition, to so entrap us. And we find ourselves in Lo-debar. Reverend Mosley said to me in the back, he said, is there anything good that can come out of Lo-debar? I've got good news for you. I've got good news for you, because there is good that can come out of Lo-debar. Because the Bible says that David, while sitting down, started to remember the promises that he made to Saul and to Jonathan. If you go back to 1 Samuel chapter number 20 and chapter number 24, you'll find that David made a promise to Jonathan first in chapter number 20. And the promise that he makes to Jonathan says, look, man, you know how much I love you. You know how much I care for you. I've always been in your corner. I've had your back. But if I die, you need to promise me that you'll take care of my children. All right. And then, if you go over to chapter number 24 of 1 Samuel, you'll find that David makes a promise to Saul. Because Saul says, I know my time is surely coming to an end, because the people have already thought about you being king. As a matter of fact, I've had to listen to them say, Saul has killed his 1,000, but David has killed his tens of thousands. I've had to listen to them say that they would rather have you in the seat versus me being in the seat. But here's what I need for you to promise me. I've got some land that doesn't belong to the kingdom. I've got some property that is not a part of Jerusalem. And what I need for you to do is to make sure, come on, Steve, help me here. I need for you to make sure that my offspring will inherit my property. So David, after remembering that, he says to his servant, hey, I'm not sure of it. But I just believe that somewhere there's a relative of Saul that's living. Well, you know, there's a servant that was Saul's servant, His name is Ziba. He would have more information about that for you. Well, call Ziba. Call Ziba in. I need to talk to Ziba.
Yeah.
Well, Ziba, yes, my Lord. Yes, my master. Ziba, is there anybody left?
Yeah. Anybody. All right.
Is there anybody left
Yeah.
that's in relation to Saul?
Yeah. Anybody.
Well, there is Mephibosheth.
Yeah. All right. All right.
But he's crippled in both feet.
Yeah. All right. Yes, sir.
Where is this Mephibosheth? He's in Lo-debar.
Yes.
Well, what I need for you to do, Ziba, is I need for you to get
All right.
Mephibosheth, and I need for you to bring him to me. Now notice, when David uses his name, Mephibosheth, he doesn't attach his inability to him. And that's the wonderful thing about the Lord, you all, is that the Lord will look past every negative, every broken thing about you. The Lord will look past all of your inabilities, and the Lord will call you by your name. He says, get Mephibosheth.
Yeah.
Ziba goes to Lo-debar and starts to look for Mephibosheth. I'm looking for Mephibosheth.
All right.
I'm looking for Mephibosheth. No, you're not Mephibosheth. You're not Mephibosheth. God, dog. You're not Mephibosheth. And look here. That thing is important because you need to recognize and understand that when God has something that is directly for you, when God has something that has been designed just for you, when God has something that he has tailor-made just for you, God will begin to bypass everybody else until God can find Mephibosheth, come see King David. He's beckoned for you.
Yeah.
He is calling. Feel this thing, you all. He is calling.
Yeah.
Not for anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because you're connected to royalty,
All right. All right.
he is calling for you. I might need to say that again because somebody might not have caught that. That somebody might need to know that you need to get connected to royalty so that the Lord can call you. He says, because you are connected to royalty,
Yes, sir.
I'm calling the one who's connected. I'm calling you.
Yeah.
The one who's connected, I'm beckoning for you. The one who's connected, I need you to draw close That's why the hymnologist said, draw me nearer. Nearer, blessed Lord.
Yeah. All right.
But let me finish this thing, y'all. Let me finish this thing because this thing is so beautiful.
Yes,
Mephibosheth shows up at King David's palace. And the thing that baffles me about the text is that I've heard so much along the way that he was crippled in both his feet.
Yeah.
But he showed up
All right.
at David's palace.
All right. Yeah.
Ziba said Mephibosheth is crippled in both feet.
Okay. Yeah.
But he gets. Steve, are you as baffled as I am? He gets to the palace of David. What is it that you're saying, preacher? And for the 5 of y'all that might be just as baffled as I am, here's what happens. You see, when the word of the master starts to call you by your name and beckons you to come, I don't care what type of ailments you may have. I don't care if you got to crawl. I don't care if you're moving slower than everybody else. But you put all of your efforts into getting to the king. I might be lame in both my feet, but I'm going to crawl my way if I have to. I might have some physical ailments that might impede my progress, but somehow, some way, I'm going to make it to the king.
All right. Hey, man.
And then look what the king does. Y'all sit down. Y'all sit down. Y'all sit down. Y'all sit down. Look at what the king does.
All right.
The king says, when Mephibosheth arrives, the king says, I got you, TJ. The king says, look, I know that you're Jonathan's son.
Yeah.
And Jonathan is deceased. But Jonathan is Saul's son. And Saul is deceased. But I made a promise a long time ago.
Let's say that.
And I'm going to fulfill my promise that I made to your grandfather and to your father. So what I'm going to do, the promise that I made to your grandfather and your father, because they aren't here to reap the benefits of the promise, I'm now going to give the promise. And that ought to be a good word for somebody in here today. Because your grandmama and your mama, your granddaddy and your daddy might not have been able to reap the benefits, but I'll be doggone it if you ain't here reaping the benefits. Sit down, y'all. I'm almost done, but I need for y'all to behave yourselves just so I can get done. And once I get done, you can do whatever you want to do. But please, just let me get done with this thing.
All right.
So here, because you are connected to royalty,
Yes, sir.
and because of the promise that I made
Yes, sir.
That sounds good in this Lenten season, does it?
Yes, sir.
That sounds real good in this Lenten season, doesn't it?
All right.
Because you are connected to royalty, and because of the promise that I made, Jesus said, I made the promise that I would go to Calvary and that I would die. I would shed my blood just so that you can have the right. He says, God Almighty, he said, because of the promise that I made, I'm giving you all of Saul's property.
Yeah.
Everything that belonged to your grandfather.
Everything. All right.
I'm giving it all to you. That's the wonderful thing about being the king, you all. I don't need anybody's permission to do what I need to do. I don't need anybody to sit back and to tell me I need for you to do this. No, I make the decision, and because I am king. He says, so I want you to understand that all of that is for your servants.
Wow. All right. Yeah.
All of that property that Saul left for his children, his children's children, his children's children's children, all of that property, that's not going to be for you.
Yeah.
My God.
But allow your servants to reside there and to take care of the property and to grow and to grow harvest and to do all of the things that they need to do in order to survive. But as for you,
All right. All right.
come here, Carmen. And as for you, there is a seat at the king's table. I've got an empty space at the table that needs somebody to sit in.
All right, sir.
And that thing shouts me, you all.
All right.
That shouts me because I'm reminded that he prepares a table in the